It's Nolan.
Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
Lot of broken promises I've been waiting on. Lot of y'all been hating, but that's the way it go. People I used to run with trying to play me. No matter what they do, can't let them change me, no. Lot of broken promises I've been waiting on. Lot of y'all been hating, but that's the way it go. Women I used to love them try to play me. No matter what they do, can't let them change me, no. Call up my parents for clarity. They left it to Cali for hours, a baby. I wonder if fashion was fair to me. Never got to connect with my family. But here I am on my way to 100 grand. It's independent game that took me from apartments to some land. I guess I should be grateful. All my life I wanted them pesos. Living was shameful. Working jobs for minimum payroll. Willing and able. Couldn't find my way out the trap. Met a girl to push me forward. So nice, no looking back. So many snakes I dead them. Cut them off, I had to behead them. Fake managers that wanna be rappers, man, I regret them. In this city, everybody crave a taste of the fame. The ones I thought would keep it silent, they turned out to be lames. I wish them well though, don't hope they fail though. Delete my cell though, cause I ain't got the time for the capping like a sombrero. Shopping on Melrose, about to hit the strip with a grip. Kinda crazy how I made it this far. Life is a trip, right?
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this afternoon. Before we get started, let me just stand up real quick, all right? Big shout out once again to Nanlib Invasion. All right, this is her cause-inspired, chains and whips inspired joint. Rakim here, Kendrick here, and he's giving half of his profits to Rakim. All right, even says it right here. Let's be clear, hip hop died again. Half of my profits should go to Rakim. Shout out to Nanlib Invasion for keeping the YouTube streets laced, well dressed, and finesse. You feel me? Cause this shit hard as fuck. I ain't gonna lie. If you want the link, I'll put it in the description. I'll put it in the chat as well. Now, yesterday we spoke on the producer Crux coming out and basically exposing Drake once again of having ghostwriters, and a leaked reference track ended up coming out. Remember, we heard the Trump Tower record just a couple months ago. It was leaked out, and a lot of his fans were very excited about that record. They felt like it was kind of older melodic Drake. They were pretty excited about it. They were hoping that it was going to be on the Iceman album. We've heard no updates about this record, but now we have a reference track with Beam on it. Now, of course, once again, we heard the name Beam come up in Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar when he said, tell Beam that he better stand right with you. Now we're hearing an actual track with Beam on it that Drake has also laid down with very minimal changes. We also heard another track by an artist by the name Wolfface Joey, who also had some of the lyrics from that record in his song as well, which was also co-written by Beam. So as the story seems to be going, the producer Crux, who is tight with Beam, that's his primary producer, it seems that he is getting iced out. No pun intended. He made mention of some money that hasn't been coming his way, but it sounds like he's got issues with multiple parties, not just Drake. Drake is one. But he's been outing multiple people in the industry that he's angry at, that allegedly owe him money or have crossed him in some form or fashion, right? If you haven't seen that video, make sure you watch that to get caught up with what we're talking about here. But we're just giving you a quick synopsis, right? So now, and I'm going to circle back to Crux. So now, of course, as this leaked track, this reference track rather, is circulating online, we now have the DJ that don't spin. Everybody knew it was only a matter of time before he came out and said something about it. He didn't go on stream about this one though. Conveniently didn't go on stream. Quite sure he will at some point to monetize off of the interaction and engagement. But he's made his way to Twitter to put his bid in to come out and defend Drake in a timely fashion, which everyone was already expecting. So here's what he had to say real quick. And ignore this bullshit here. That's not what we're talking about. But here we have him saying, y'all just realizing no artist done lasted 10 plus years writing every single chorus and verse. Whoop-de-doo. Fans got to get realistic. Every artist who makes hits over 10 plus years have utilized some help at some point. Yes, that includes Kendrick Lamar, Future, and Drake. Get mad. Okay? So rather than just accept that Drake has more reference tracks than anyone else in the history of hip hop, and just saying, you know what? Why are y'all surprised? That's what he should say. He should say, why are y'all surprised? Y'all know Drake been getting songs written for him his entire career. Why is anybody acting surprised? This is not new information. This isn't a new revelation. So who cares? That would have been the whoop-de-doo. But since that isn't a strong enough defense, he decides to try to throw others into the mix, right? So then he goes on to say that no other artist that's lasted 10 plus years in the music industry at a high level has done so without help, which to me is a statement of the obvious, right? But the difference is a lot of times the artist will tell you who did certain things. This person produced. This person came up with this bridge. This person came up with this hook. They brought the track with the hook already on it. But for whatever reason, Drake wanted to keep a lot of that stuff under wraps, which is why it tends to be a little bit shocking, is because he wanted to paint the picture like he was just, he's the arbiter of the term all me. Came up, that's all me. Stay real, that's all me. No help, that's all me. I mean, for real. Ain't that what he said? When you do that, when you say that all the songs out there sound like Drake featuring Drake, how is that ever really possible when Drake featuring Drake is really whoever gave you the idea, wrote the rap, wrote the verse, wrote the hook, featuring whoever that nigga was that wrote the verse, wrote the hook. That's where these things get tricky. That's why some people have a problem with Kanye poking his chest out and trying to say he's the best, when we already know that a lot of his work, now I'm not saying he ain't never wrote nothing, I'm not saying Drake never wrote nothing, but a lot of the work, especially the work that people love from these artists, was done in a think tank, was done with people putting pens to the sheets, giving them ideas in the studio, and they come out and execute it. In Kanye's case, at a certain point, he stopped even producing in the typical traditional fashion, using the beat machine, chopping the samples and stuff like that. He started letting other people do that. He started offloading all the responsibilities and just became a straight up performer. And then here and there, he would write things. But once that gets introduced to the populace, we start questioning, well, what else? And the funny thing is, people will scratch and claw in defense of Drake, but then they'll try to throw Cardi B under the bus, somebody who has not been hiding the help that she gets. And then they try to fault her for being transparent, when if you were transparent from the beginning, nobody would ever have to say, you've been fooling the people. You've been duping us. So yes, do I believe that Kendrick Lamar has had people come and perhaps give him hooks or come sing hooks that they wrote on songs? Of course. Same with Future, most definitely Drake. But that ain't what we talking about. We ain't heard no fucking reference track of nobody sitting there going through a whole Kendrick Lamar song, and then he comes out and puts that shit out verbatim. We don't have a single one. You could make about 2 albums of Drake's reference tracks at this point. Damn sure a full album. So yeah, your boy is existing on an island by himself, and that's just what it is. Don't throw nobody else in the pot of gumbo. Just accept that your boy is getting outed every 2 months. So somebody then proceeds to put Jay-Z in his comments. He says, "Don't let me break y'all heart." Basically trying to say, oh, I know Jay-Z got things written for him. Again, same thing as that I'm saying with the others. Jay-Z, if you look at the Fade to Black documentary, right? He put it out himself. They're documented on camera. This movie played in theaters, by the way, where you had people like Kanye come to the studio, give ideas, played the Lucifer beat. He had the idea of the hook. I'm from the murder capital, where we murder for capital. We knew that. We saw that. And then we heard Jay-Z saying it on the final song. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't something that they were trying to keep from the people. They were literally showing you the entire creative process of the album. That's what it was. When Pharrell came to the studio with the beats, he would come with a story or a concept in mind that would get Jay-Z's wheels turning so that he could go in and come up with it lyrically. That's what artists do. That's the process when you're an artist. You know what I'm saying? And the producer comes in trying to pitch you a record because they want you to pick their record over everybody else's. So the way to get the leg up is, okay, I'm going to put a hook on here. I'm going to try to drive you in a direction to where you can just be free. You can come up with some extra shit, lay it down, and hopefully you choose it for the album. That's different than a nigga coming in and writing your whole record, giving you a whole reference track for you to listen to and study, and then go try to recreate. And then you put it out and nobody knows that there was a whole ref. That's different. The problem is when you out here boasting that you don't need help. You out here boasting that you are the supreme songwriter, the holder of all the ideas, and I could come and I could write your whole album too. Not only can I do my own shit, I'm gonna come do yours too. When you make that your identity and that piece crumbles, yeah, it's gonna have ramifications on the back end of it. When everybody else been chilling, they creating, they putting their music out, and they may say I'm the greatest or I'm the best or this or that. And then you gonna see from the work what it is that they've been doing. We see from him every 2 to 3 months, we get an onslaught of ref tracks of other people laying down his records. And then we hear his voice on the shit and it's like, oh, this nigga been doing this shit his whole career. This ain't nothing new. Don't try to quell it. Don't try to tell people to shut up. You might as well tune out these conversations if you don't enjoy them. You know what I'm saying? You might as well go in the opposite direction. If you hear niggas talking in the barbershop, don't get your hair cut that day. That's what's going to happen. Then to try to draw some type of correlation to snitching, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Y'all sound like how niggas sound with the no snitching convo. Well, nobody got locked up. No, ain't nobody say that. Now let's get back to the producer, Dem Crux, shall we? Okay, so Dem Crux is the producer who leaked the reference track of Beam singing the Trump Towers record. He produced the original Trump Tower record. Well, both ways. He produced the record. If you look it up on Genius, you'll see his name in the credits, right? So he hasn't been paid for whatever work that he's done for Drake. He's been outing him. Now, late last night, he got back in his Instagram story and allegedly was jumped. Because remember, he's also calling out people locally and people in the Spanish music, Latin music community. I guess they haven't been paying him correctly either. So he's got issues with a lot of people. So on the left-hand side, my left, it says, motherfuckers in this block just beat the fuck out of me in front of everyone for calling them out. So he said he got beat up. He says, I'm praying for y'all. He then comes back and says, we in Miami. How the fuck a Canadian pussy hole has that type of power, quote unquote? All right. So he's alleging that while he was out, because he was planning on going out and partying and going to some event, he showed himself going to the event. And I guess on his way out, it got violent. He's claiming he got beat up, jumped. He's saying, how the fuck does this Canadian p-hole have this type of power? Basically saying, I just got jumped in my own community on behalf of this Canadian, as in Drake. How does he have that type of pull to make y'all do that to one of y'all own? Now, to be clear, I'm not a Dem Crux sympathizer either. Like, things can go both ways. You can out people. You was calling people effing pussies and saying they was bitches and all type of shit. We went through his whole story yesterday. Now, if you got jumped, yeah, that ain't the wave. Somebody could have gave you a fair one. But you've been out here talking crazy, people gonna come try to see you. It is a part of the game. You was talking like you was prepared for it. You was telling niggas to come get you. You know? I'm not on nobody's side here. I'm just a motherfucker reporting. But from his perspective, he's looking at it like, how could y'all come jump me, come beat me the hell up on behalf of this motherfucker, right? But he was pissing off a lot of people, not just people in Drake's camp. He was showing text messages of various people hitting him up saying, hey man, leave me out of this, untag me. I think his manager told him to take his name out his bio. There's a lot going on. So I'm sure a lot of those people that were trying to communicate with him were locals as well. And this is what allegedly got him beat up. And this is Beam's producer, by the way. He's still been shouting out Beam. He says that he's the one of the greatest artists, producers, and songwriters of this generation in his recent stories. I don't know if Beam has anything to do with him being jumped, if he's still rolling on Drake's side, or if he's going to be trying to mediate the situation to get them back cool. I don't know what Beam's involvement in all of this is, but I do know that Dem Crux is his producer that he brought to the table. Now, remember, just a couple of days ago, we were talking about Drake and his laptop stickers, where he had the Hell's Angel sticker on his laptop with the Hello Kitty sticker and the iced out pink watch, right? And we talked about his, I'll just say association. I'm not going to say affiliation, but his association and his representation of outwardly wearing Hell's Angel merch and memorabilia, right? So now on Dark Kenny, which I don't spend a lot of time on Dark Kenny or on Reddit, but this was brought to my attention today, is that they've now found this account called Outlaw Archive on Instagram. And Outlaw Archive is basically a page where they show Hell's Angels memorabilia and archives of the memorabilia over the last, let's just say 60 years or so. So they show a bunch of different stuff. And apparently Drake has been in contact with the owner of this page, the Outlaw Archive. So he's been in direct communication with this person who is well known for documenting Hell's Angels memorabilia, customs, and all of that different type of stuff. And now the person who runs the Outlaw Archive account is at odds with Drake as well. Hold on, y'all. The hell. So, as you can see here, we have Drake with this shoe on his face with the Have a Merry Christmas t-shirt on. And as you can see here below it is the Have a Merry Christmas Hell's Angel logo. Okay? And this is on the Outlaw Archive story. He puts a middle finger saying F Drake. Now, as to why he's saying F Drake, we're going to get there. So now he's showing text messages between himself and Drake. Okay? The boy with an Iceman avatar in his text. Have a Merry Christmas was the craziest shit. They're genius in clothing and logo design, was actually mind blowing. I always used to talk to Virgil about it. Okay? So I'm guessing that this is Drake sending that message. Okay? And Drake is talking about how dope the concept and the clothing and the logo design is, and how he used to have conversations with Virgil about the Hells Angels and their clothing and logos, which I find to be whoa. You know what I'm saying? Because although a lot of people, rest in peace to Virgil, a lot of people used to give him a lot of credit for being like this fashion genius. I never liked nothing he ever put out. And they all, him, Virgil, Kanye, they all have, I guess, this affinity for this type of shit. So now here's more communications between this Hell's Angel archivist and Drake. He sends him a photo, and you see there's the the Have a Merry Christmas thing that he was wearing on his shirt, along with a bunch of other pieces from the collection. He says Hell's Angels Archive. This was sent March 1st. Drake proceeds to send him a voice message 6 minutes long. I don't have access to it. I think he played some of the audio in his story, but it's now timed out, so it's no longer available. But he decided to show the proof. And he says, "What's with the deep breathing and rubbing sounds in the background?" Okay, so he's getting outed on multiple fronts. He's getting outed by Crux, the producer, for allegedly not being paid or being mistreated in the camp. Now he's putting out Beam's references for Drake. And we also have this Hell's Angel outlaw archivist outing Drake at the very same time. So here we see more communication between himself and Drake. It says, "We've come a long way to making this happen. I'd love to continue moving forward. So if you can commit to a number in the 20s, then we can lock this in." So he's trying to convert a sale to Drake to sell him some of this merchandise and memorabilia. He says, "Keep in mind that I'm only keeping less than 5% of the collection. The one set of HA colors I'd keep are Bordeaux colors from 1962. You'd be getting Bordeaux colors from 1953 and 1972. Drake says, "Let's lock it in at 20. That's a magical moment for us." Okay, done deal, handshake. "And I know you will do all you can for the archive as you have for so many years. Done deal." Or is that the other way around? I don't know. So then we have another screenshot here of photos of money, another voice note, a laughing emoji, and me trying to figure out payment. Okay? And allegedly, Drake has not paid this guy for something. Okay? So here's what they have here in the description. They say Outlaw Archive on IG is a page that curates, collects, and preserves the history of the HA motorcycle gang. And Drake has been seen paying homage to it in the past before. We already have shown that. They say, as of 5 hours ago, it seems that Outlaw Archive and Drake had previously worked out some sort of deal where Drake bought some notable pieces or was sent some pieces from Outlaw Archive's personal collection. But OLA seems to allude that Drake hasn't paid him and has shared voice messages from conversations regarding the deal. Thought it was interesting that Drake offered to pay in Bitcoin, which we've heard about Drake offering to pay people in Bitcoin or do different transactions in Bitcoin quite a bit over the course of the last year, which sounds to me like he's trying to keep certain payments off the grid to where they won't show up in his actual bank statements and things of that nature. Didn't see anyone else talking about it Check out OLA's story for yourself. Last story includes an audio of Drake and what sounds like him snorting something. Now, I'm not going to allude to anything in terms of snorting because I didn't hear the audio myself. Therefore, I can't verify that part. But this is what's being reported from the Outlaw Archive. Okay? This guy here says, bro, these are crazy. He literally showed a map where the pick of the money was taken. LOL, gonna get raided. This person here says, voice audio flat out saying he was trying to figure out how to keep it off the books. I'm gonna open up a can of worms with this one. Kenny is friends with Jack Dorsey. If my op was friends with Jack Dorsey, I wouldn't fuck with Bitcoin to do my dirty business whatsoever. Now, interestingly enough, we're hearing about Jack Dorsey. We're hearing about Bitcoin. We're hearing about all these transactions, right? Well, guess what Jack Dorsey tweeted out earlier today? 8 a.m. this morning, Jack Dorsey jumps on Twitter and says, Bitcoin is not crypto. Now, is this all related? I don't know. I just find it to be a very timely piece here that Jack put this out while these guys are having this very same conversation on Reddit about Drake trying to make a payment in Bitcoin, allegedly, to obtain Hell's Angels memorabilia, which has not been paid, allegedly. Now, here we have decent ad saying, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and there's an interview with a Fed that infiltrated them for 2 years. Hillbilly Donnie Brasco is what they call him. Hillbillies. Undercover Donnie Brasco. Hillbillies. Kendrick, Baby King, Hillbillies. Dem Crux was playing Hillbillies on his story yesterday as he was outing Drake and others in the music industry that have allegedly crossed him. Y'all know I'm not a conspiracy nigga. I don't get on YouTube and push out conspiracy theories or try to put things together. I'm not the guy that tries to create stories. I'm literally just reading what's been put out there, and the parallels are just coming together too easily. Anyway, he talks about being around them and crimes he agreed to do with them to earn their trust. Hustling stolen cars, I believe. He says they had sweeping surveillance equipment he had never even seen before and how they intimidated him. Heard this a couple months ago, right before I started learning about other outlaw bike clubs. I 100% would hate to be someone who betrayed their trust. Okay? So if anybody's wondering where he may have been getting this stuff from, it sounds like he's been doing business with this outlaw archive person. And to be honest, I ain't even mad that he stiffed out on his ass. Hey, I told y'all earlier, I ain't on nobody's side. You wanted to send this uninitiated motherfucker some merch and shit like that, and he ain't pay his tab, and y'all represent the motherfucking racist hate biker group. Fuck you. You don't deserve the money anyway. But the fact that he's actually out here communicating and showing interest in this shit and rocking this shit as a mixed black Jew, I find that to be very fucking suspicious. And he's talking about how him and Virgil used to have conversations about the Hell's Angel merch and logo design and how revolutionary it was. Very fucking interesting to me. All right. So let's be clear. Hip hop died again. Yeah, I think it did. It's alive and well. I will say that much. But the fact that we allowed some of these people in our culture, that we gave some of these people platforms, that we allowed these people to make so much riches off of our own natural resource and export with this music, this culture, this language we speak, this colloquial thing that we have amongst ourselves, and we allowed some of these motherfuckers, because they black also or have ties to blackness also, to come in here, infiltrate this shit and turn it into some old anti-black self-hate degradation fucking ritual or some shit. Yeah, I'm angry about that shit. I am also angry at the stronghold that some of these motherfuckers have on people, despite being privy to this information and knowing what's going on. Yeah. all skin folk definitely ain't motherfucking kin folk. I'm gonna be very clear about that. We gonna have to be real about that. We got fucking Kanye wearing a goddamn Black Klansman outfit in 2025. We got Drake with this shit. Allegedly, Virgil was into the same shit when he was here in the flesh. There's a very interesting conversation happening on social media, you know, surrounding Tyler the Creator. I haven't really delved all the way into that, about some of the anti-Black narratives that he was perpetuating a decade or so ago. You know, he was much younger then, but even still. And I can't say that people are wrong for being on edge right now, especially with what's going on around the world and especially in our country. Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one though, man. Peace.
Family over fame in this bitch, yeah. The glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'm never politicking, the drama be piling on. Father and great son acknowledged like I'm Bobby Bonds. Conversation with my lady about the paper route. 5 sit bank accounts, every day I make it count. They down talking my commentary for hating now. Well, I can take it cause I'm bodying your favorite now, please. I can do this shit in my sleep. I been writing for these niggas, y'all read it and weep. I been fighting these niggas if you speak on the street. I turn your birthday party into New Year's Eve. Don't let me take it there. We ain't playing fair. This the ATL, Southside nigga moving furniture like Wayfair. Life on hold, no insurance for your healthcare. Lifeline gone, so you wanna be a millionaire? Well, let me tell you about this world I built. The women I dodged, the niggas that I read for filth. The sympathy cause consulting for the stacks I built. I had